into your stomp, your feet start clapping. NBC, Sunday night about to happen. America's game, been waiting all day. Raiders and the fans have come to play. Al, Chris, Michelle, turn it up. It's the NFL, can't get enough. We got a battle tonight, a winner take all, ain't nothing like Sunday night football. It's out of control. Get set, let's go. The clock's winding down. Let's rock and roll. Stand up and cheer, stomp your feet, start clapping. NBC, Sunday night about to happen. Hits keep coming and the lights keep flashing. Come on, get ready for the action. Sunday night, Sunday night. Sunday night, Sunday night. Sunday night, Sunday night, Sunday night.
Establish themselves as a power running team.
Okay, more of the preamble now. Down to the field. And Michelle Tafoya.
Where the rain is picking up. Well, listen, Al, after getting shut out 40-0 at Baltimore a week ago, Dolphins head coach Adam Gase called his offense, quote, a joke, and called out his offensive leaders for not putting in the necessary work. Then on Tuesday, as you said, the Dolphins traded one of their best offensive players, Pro Bowl running back Jay Ajayi, to the Philadelphia Eagles, sending a wake-up call to the entire team and leaving the Dolphins with a group of running backs with the fewest combined rushing yards in the entire NFL. So, leading the way tonight, second-year player Kenyon Drake, who's been a perennial backup since his college days at Alabama, along with Damian Williams, who's a running and passing threat and a capable pass blocker. Now, Miami does get some help tonight with the return of wide receiver Devontae Parker, who has missed the last 3 games with a right high ankle sprain. Al.
All right, Michelle, 2 iconic franchises ready to go at it. Miami and Oakland on Sunday Night Football.
Ain't nothing like Sunday night football.
Some
NBC Sports app.
NBC Sports, home of Super Bowl.
Veterans Day, and so many of the great people, the great men and women of our armed services in attendance here tonight, ready to take in this game as we reach the second half of the season. With the standings looking like this, Kansas City losing at Dallas today, 6-3. So the Raiders can move into second place with a win and get 2 back of KC. New England was off today, thereby Buffalo lost to the Jets on Thursday night. So if Miami wins here, they would tie Buffalo for second place in the division. As you look at Jack Del Rio and Adam Gase, who served together for 3 years at Denver on the staff under John Fox, and went to the Super Bowl in one of those seasons. Cordero Patterson with 5 kickoff returns for touchdowns, the former Minnesota Viking with the most kickoff returns for a touchdown among active players. Cody Parkey getting ready to kick off as Miami won the toss and the Dolphins have deferred. Hasn't rained all day. We had a shower, of course, just as Michelle came on camera. That would figure. And now it has dissipated. Looking at the radar, shouldn't have too much more. Maybe a sprinkle or two. And the kickoff goes through the end zone, so the Raiders will begin from the 25-yard line, and let's take a look at their offense.
Derek Carr, Fresno State.
Marshawn Lynch, New Oakland.
Michael Crabtree, Texas Tech. Amari Cooper, Alabama.
Jared Cook, South Carolina.
Lee Smith, Marshall.
Donald Penn, Utah State.
Coleccio Assembly, Iowa State.
Rodney Hudson, Florida State.
Gabe Jackson, Mississippi State.
Marshall Newhouse, TCU.
That offensive line, and there is Lynch, who comes back after a 1-game suspension, thrown out of the game against Kansas City, which Oakland won 31-30. Missed last week at Buffalo. And the first scrimmage play of the night is Lynch, and he gets bottled up for a loss of 1. He's taken down at the 24-yard line. That is Rashad Jones making the tackle. Derek Carr, his numbers this season, 12 touchdowns, those 6 interceptions equal his total for all of last season. Rating is okay. He's been throwing a lot of short stuff, and he's been the victim of a lot of dropped passes this season. Second and 10. Fake to Lynch. He goes out into the pattern and makes the catch, but he is buried right away. Ray Maualuga, now in his 9th season in the league, stops him there, so it's 3rd and long for the Raiders.
Pretty rare. Not often you see this guy out in the pass route, Marshawn Lynch. And Ray Maualuga is not really known for his pass coverage ability. So that matchup early on, but so far this Dolphins team's exactly where they want to be. A pass rush situation here for Cameron Wake and Ndamukong Suh.
Chris, you mentioned not very many catches for Lynch, only his 5th of the season. 3 receivers set to the right side. Carr from the gun, under pressure, throwing deep downfield, and it is caught. That is Jared Cook making the catch for the first down. Jared Cook, and of course he broke Dallas's hearts last year in the playoff game when Rodgers hit him along the sideline, setting up the game-winning field goal.
You get the safety in this lurk position coming down to the middle of the field, trying to take away all those crossing routes. Derek Carr saw it. The one-on-one coverage gets a linebacker, Kiko Alonso. And there is Jared Cook getting off to a good start for the Raiders.
35-yard gain on a 3rd and 9.
No!
Parsons passing up in the slot to the right. Here's Lynch swinging outside, and Lynch loses his helmet as he runs into Maualuga again. Second tackle for Ray. Gain of a couple. It'll be second down. Let's call it 8.
You know, it's such an interesting matchup. Ray Maualuga is a guy that typically can't play on late downs, 3rd downs, passing situations. He's just a run-stuffing player. But if the Raiders try and rely on their run game tonight, he is perfectly situated to play against that style, and should be some big explosions between Lynch and Ray Maualuga.
Lynch 2 carries for 2 yards at the outset. And carry number 3 goes nowhere again. So Lynch bottled up, this time by Kiko Alonso. Let's take a look at that Dolphin D.
Cameron Wake, BC Lion.
Dominic Sue, Grant High School.
Jordan Phillips, Oklahoma.
Andre Branch, Death Valley, South Carolina. Lawrence Timmons, Florida State University.
Ray Maluga, University of Southern California.
Kiko Alonso, Oregon.
Xavier Howard, Baylor.
Rashad Jones, Georgia.
Michael Thomas, Stanford.
Corjay Tangley, Silver Bluff High School.
The defense really hasn't been the problem for Miami. It's the other side of the ball. 3rd down and 9 here at the 38-yard line. Carr fires, and that's caught, and that is Cook again. So Cook with a couple of big 3rd down grabs, each on a 3rd and 9, and that one is good for 14 yards.
Same matchup as the other conversion right there. Jared Cook's going to come right at you and run the out route. Alonso maybe a little leery of the footing out here. This field has had major issues, has been redone, and you can see Cameron Wake on the outside not being able to turn the corner.
And there was a college game here last night as the Miami Hurricanes beat Virginia Tech. Number 24, Lynch. Nowhere. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, yeah, as you said, this is the 4th field, the 4th playing surface that this team has seen since the beginning of preseason. This particular field was laid down October 26th after the team deemed it below their playability standards following the Jets game, even though the NFL had certified it as safe prior to the game. As you say, the Hurricanes play here too. That adds to the wear and tear. But the field got positive feedback after last night's game, Al.
Certainly looks better, at least at the outset, than it did against the Jets a couple of weeks back. When it was really torn up. Of course, the night before they played a game in a rainstorm. 2nd down and 9. Carr fakes and throws and reaching for it, and that's Cook again. So an early hat trick for him on this opening drive. Came over from the Green Bay Packers, sets him up again. 1st down.
This has just been one-on-one football so far. You have Jared Cook on the outside, once again going against Kiko Alonso, makes the break. So far, it has been all Derek Carr. They really have not run the football at all effectively yet, and yet it has been that single combination that has kept this drive alive.
Precisely 4 rushes for 2 yards, but 4 passes for 60. 3 to Cook. Carr starts the game 4 for his first 4. Lynch, and a flag is thrown, so we will hear the voice of Terry McCauley momentarily. Jones and Phillips.
No play. False start prior to the snap. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's Donald Penn, the left tackle.
Yeah, Donald Penn got in his stance a little bit late, and then you've got to be set for a full second. Take a look at Penn out here, and the ball is snapped. Can't be getting in the stance as the ball is snapped. But really, it may be to the Raiders' advantage to get into another passing down the distance.
Converted both of the 3rd downs. They have DeAndre Washington, who now comes in as the running back.
Michael Thomas, a backup in at the safety position for Nate Allen, who is out with a calf injury.
Washington lining up 8 yards deep in the backfield on 1st and 15. He swings to the outside, gets around the corner, and at least he gets a positive run, this time to the 15-yard line, minimally positive. Jones makes the tackle, gain of 3. 2nd and 12.
Everybody's having a hard time catching Ray Maluga on the inside. He has really been a dominant force, but so is this defensive line of the Miami Dolphins. We've seen Sue getting off double teams. We have certainly seen Jordan Phillips, number 97, playing well. Now they're back into their pass rush mode with nickel in the game.
27. Raiders have owned the ball for the first 6.5 minutes of the contest. Washington stays in there. Stays in the block, and then they dump it to him. And he goes nowhere. That's Lawrence Timmons, the longtime former Pittsburgh Steeler, who stops him in his tracks. Loss of 2, 3rd and 14 for Oakland.
Interesting. They tried to pick again right here on Kiko Alonso. They're going to pick him off the screen in the man coverage, but it didn't matter. Lawrence Timmons came up to save the day.
There are the 2 coordinators right there. Todd Downing, Burt on the Miami side, took over when Vance Joseph got the head coaching job at Denver. in the offseason. 3rd down and 14. Play action. Carr looking, and then he just dumps it into the ground. Washington he was, I guess, the intended receiver in a manner of speaking, closest to it, so there's no grounding. And it's 4th and 14, and in comes the field goal group.
Well, you certainly don't want to turn it over, but that was one heck of a job of pass protection there. And I'm sure for the offensive linemen, their statement would have been, hey, stand there all day if you want. It has been 101 pass attempts coming into this game. We haven't let you give up a sack yet. We had your back.
36-yard attempt for Giorgio Tavecchio. Took over when Sebastian Janikowski went on IR at the beginning of the season. And he's done a nice job, and the left-footed kicker bangs it through. So Oakland has the ball for half the quarter, and it's 3-0 Raiders. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Bose, official sound of the NFL. By Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. And by Verizon, the best network and the best unlimited. Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, largest in the world. More than 1,500 boats on display. Anybody out in the Intracoastal Waterway today?
You ever own a boat?
No, sir. Not even a rowboat.
Really?
Nope. You?
Love it. I have 2 now. I love it.
Once got on a wave runner.
Did you? How'd that go?
Fabulous.
Paid money.
In a tank top. Kickoff 2 yards into the end zone. Shaquem Grant is going to run it out. Avoids a tackle. And a flag is down.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 78. Half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Backs him up deep, and let's take a look at the Dolphin offense.
Jay Cutler, Vanderbilt.
Damian Williams, Oklahoma.
Kenny Stills, La Costa Canyon High School.
Devontae Parker, Louisville.
Jarvis Landry, LSU.
Julius Thomas, Portland State.
Laramie Tunsil, Ole Miss.
Jesse Davis, Idaho.
Mike Pouncey, Florida.
Jamon Bushrod, King George High School.
Jawan James, Tennessee.
Dolphins spending a lot of money on that offensive line, and they've done that through the years. So Damian Williams now becomes the running back with Jay Ajayi in Philadelphia. We'll see Williams, we'll see Kenyon Drake, and it's Williams who starts here, and his initial carry of the night goes nowhere. That's Justin Ellis who comes in to make the tackle. So it remains to be seen who is going to do the heavy-duty work as the season progresses. They have to figure that one out. But Williams played at Oklahoma. He was undrafted. It's his 4th year here. Last year he scored 3 touchdowns. And there's Kenyon Drake. We'll see him as well. He was their 3rd round pick in 2016. Meanwhile, Cutler with a short drop and a quick throw to Pisano. And they ride him out of bounds at about the 14-yard line where Corey James makes the tackle. So Jay Cutler would have been in Seattle today announcing the Washington game against the Seahawks with Kevin Burkhardt and crew, but he wound up signing with Miami on the 6th of August when Ryan Tannehill went down with a torn ACL. Cutler got the call. He'd been with Gase in Chicago, and here he is unretiring. How much longer? Who knows? 1-year deal right now. 3rd down and 5 at the 14-yard line. Cutler fires. That's caught. That's a 1st down, and that's Devontae Parker who comes back from an injury, back in the lineup, taking it to the 27th, 1st down Miami.
Here is what the Dolphins have been missing with Devontae Parker. You get out of here in a one-on-one situation. You now force the Raiders to make a decision. Are you going to send the safety that way to help against him or leave Dexter McDonald one-on-one on the outside? They chose the one-on-one option, and they moved the chains for the Dolphins.
Parker, who is their #1 draft choice in 2015 out of Louisville. Cutler 12 years in the National Football League. Off the fake, buying time. Nimble in the pocket, throws, caught. That's Jarvis Landry making the catch. And he gets shoved out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. And that's a 1st down.
A little extra help on the protection. But I tell you, there's a guy right here in Jesse Davis that I think has helped solidify this offensive line. He's not the greatest athlete in the world, but here is a guy that at least will show up day in and day out and not back up into Jay Cutler.
And they run without a huddle here, and that's Damian Williams, tackled by Navarro Bowman, who came over from San Francisco. They let him go last month, and he is filling the gap at middle linebacker.
Mike Pouncey was so fast out there to get him, he ran right past Navarro Bowman. Bowman is the guy, he is turned school teacher in there to that linebacker room, a very young group. It's amazing. In his first 2 games here, barely knowing the playbook, leading tackler each game.
Second down and 10 from the 48-yard line. Inside handoff this time to Damian Williams to the 41. Let's take a look at the Oakland defense.
Khalil Mack, Buffalo. Eddie Vanderdos, Placer High School. Justin Ellis, Louisiana Tech. Mario Edwards Jr., Florida State. Corey James, Colorado State. Navarro Bowman, Penn State. Bruce Irvin, Almost Heaven, West Virginia U.
Dexter McDonald, Kansas.
Carl Joseph, West Virginia.
Reggie Nelson, Florida. TJ Carey, Ohio University.
That's a defense that's given up, as Chris mentioned earlier, a lot of big plays this season. And right now Miami comes up on a 3rd down and 6. Cutler scrambles out of the pocket, throws, flag is down, however, and Jarvis Landry gets bounced out of bounds. And it looked for a moment as if the official might throw a flag as Reggie Nelson popped him out, but the flag is back upfield.
Illegal formation. Offense number 70 was in the offensive backfield. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Jawan James lined up off the line of scrimmage, and that cost him a big gain.
For the tackles, their helmet has to break the center belt line right there, and you can see it's behind that line. That's one that you could argue they could call a lot, right? And when it happens, when you scramble out and pick up a 1st down, and now it's 3rd and 11, those hurt.
3 wide with 6 defensive backs on a 3rd and 11, and they'll keep it on the ground. And the next thing will be a punt with a, well, maybe not, because we have to see what the flag is. It's going to be against Miami for a hold.
Holding. Offense number 51. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Pouncey holds. Gase rubs his chin here as the offense bogs down after picking up 2 first downs on the opening drive.
You know, Al, it's interesting that teams continue to try and run the ball out of the end zone. The possibilities of a flag seem like they're about 50-50. Then you end up backed up. That would have been actually a decent drive if not for some of the fouls.
Matt Hawk is the punter. This is the very short kick. And takes a nice Oakland bounce, and there was another flag. So we played the first several minutes without a flag, and now we have one on every play.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 16. 10-yard penalty, 1st down, timeout.
Oakland ball, 3:02 to the quarter end, 3-0. Tuesday, 3-time Grammy winner Kelly Clarkson is back on The Voice. She's going to be a coach on The Voice next season. But this week, she's helping out as the big knockout rounds continue. The Voice tomorrow and Tuesday right here on NBC. There you go. Downtown Miami. Back we come to Hard Rock Stadium. About a half hour north from the 18. Oakland starts this drive. Clark goes to the outside. Remember, he caught at the 30-yard line in forward progress. We'll get a 1st down for Michael Crabtree.
One of the things you notice about Derek Carr is whenever he wants to just get settled into a drive or feel a little bit more comfortable, his go-to guy is right there, Michael Crabtree. There is just a level of comfort for those two, and they feel very, especially on those outside breaking or stop routes, it just sort of gets Derek Carr going sometimes.
Crabtree's now caught 34 balls this year. He and Cooper have an equal number, and Cook, with 3 tonight, also has 34. So 3 guys lead the team in receptions at this moment. This is Washington. Gets wrestled down at the 31. Kiko Alonso, certainly in the headlines after the Thursday night game in Baltimore. Oddly enough, it was his first penalty of the season. The optics look so terrible because he came in. A lot of people thought maybe he hit Joe Flacco late. Flacco suffered a concussion, was out of the game. Helmet came off. But the league took a look at it and, well, they said, not that bad.
$9,100 fine, and I'm going to be on the not so bad side of that. I thought both of them were battling, trying to get to that first down line or keep Joe Flacco from getting there. Tried to turn himself out of it. I didn't think it was much.
And falling down here, we'll take a look at it right here. When I say not so bad, I mean $9,100. You rarely see a fine that low.
Yeah, he has no history, but you'll see where the first down marker is on this run. And Flacco's trying to get there, and Alonso's trying to keep him from getting there. As he slides late, he turns his body, catches him with his shoulder to the head. I don't know what else Alonso really could have done in that situation.
And as we say, it was his first penalty of the season, so it's not a guy who gets involved in a lot of things like that.
And not a dirty guy.
Right.
We saw him at one point not even slam the wide receiver to the ground, just basically carried him off into the backfield.
Taylor Gabriel of the Falcons, he kind of gave him a ride, like an amusement park. Timeout is going to be taken here by Oakland. When we come back, it'll be 3rd and 9 for the visitors. There is the Raiders offense, 58 plays per game, fewest in the NFL. Right now they're about to run their 15th play of the quarter. After they took a timeout, it's going to be 3rd and 9. They've had 2 3rd and 9 so far and converted both on passes to Jared Cook. Flag thrown. It's going to be a free play because they let the play continue, and it's incomplete. But the flag was thrown. Miami was offside, and so it's going to make it 3rd down and 4.
Offside defense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Let's take a look at this. It's the center, Rodney Hudson, and let's see if they try to time it up with something he does. Yep. As soon as he bobbed his head that one time, they took off. So many times you have to self-scout so that you know what the Miami Dolphins are doing. But about 2 or 3 of them that time moved, and good heads-up play by the veteran Rodney Hudson.
3rd and 4. Yeah, put Lynch back in the game now. And then they split him. So you have 4 receivers to the right side, 1 to the left. 4-man rush. Carr from the pocket throws, and that is a little low and incomplete, intended for Amari Cooper. Turned around, he's covered by Xavier Howard, and Oakland will kick.
One of the interesting matchups in Ndamukong Suh going up against an old rival he played many times in college in Kelechi Osemele. A little help coming over from Rodney Hudson, but we'll watch that matchup all evening long. And one of the things the Dolphins thought they could do was sort of make Derek Carr flinch a little. They got away with one there.
Well, Marquette King is one of the best kickers in the league, and he's going to get a lucky bounce on this to turn it into a relatively reasonable kick. Second leading punter in the league. Miami ball. So Adam Gase in the front office sent their #1 running back, the Pro Bowl running back Jay Ajayi to Philadelphia. All he did today in his debut was this, among other things. That touchdown from 46. He had 8 carries for 77 yards, and the Eagles just continue to roll. Running all over the Denver Broncos today to go to 8-1. As Ajayi makes his Eagles debut in a well-fortified Philadelphia backfield. From the 18, Jay Cutler will start this drive out of the shotgun. And the swing pass out here to Drake. And he goes, you know, Chris, fans around the league, unless you follow the thing really, really closely, they go, well, wait a second. They did what? They traded their Pro Bowl running back to Philadelphia? Why did they do that? There always has to be something beneath the surface.
Yeah, there always is. And in this case, I think it had a lot to do with the fact that, A, he had a bad knee, wasn't able to practice much, so made some mistakes in the game. But B, he was a bit of a malcontent on this team and disrupted some things on the sideline. And I think sometimes a new head coach needs to take a firm grip on the wheel, right, and decide he's going to make a stand. And in this particular case, that stand was on Jay Ajayi. And so we'll see if he got his team's attention this week or not.
Well, Parker makes the catch. It's going to be 3rd and 1. There's a lot of the Benjamin trade from Carolina to Buffalo, stunning. The Garoppolo trade to, in effect, to San Francisco, a little stunning. A lot went on at the trading deadlines, almost like baseball now. Before a 3rd and 1, time runs out in the first quarter, and the 3-0 Oakland, and Sunday Night Football continues after these messages. And tonight's aerial coverage high above downtown Miami being brought to you by Geico. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya here in Miami. Haven't been here in a number of years on Sunday Night Football.
No, I'm happy to be back in my home state.
Yeah, there you go. The old Gator. 3rd and 1 as we start the second quarter. And moving to the outside, finding a little crease, Damian Williams, who looked like he was stopped short of the first down, then slides to his right and picks up the first for the Dolphins.
Nicely played there by left guard Jesse Davis, who's taken over the starting spot. Watch him come around here. They're going to block down, and he's going to kick out around the outside. That's a big play on 3rd down and 1 to keep this drive alive. I mean, they just need snaps on this offense. They just have not been able to put anything together. The good news is Devontae Parker, number 11, looks pretty good in his return, though.
And nice little hole here, and a good run breaking tackles is Kenyon Drake, but a flag is down. Back in the offensive backfield.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 97. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Mario Edwards Jr. after the nice run for 11 yards by Drake.
He didn't like it. He got blocked on the play. Here's Edwards right here. And it was a good down block by Anthony Fasano. Gave him that late shot, and then a left-right combination of the head. This has been more like heavyweight fights today in the NFL than it has been about playing football. All kinds of stuff going on like that.
Sometimes that kind of blow leads to an ejection. Ken Norton, the defensive coordinator, they just call it a personal foul. So you tack on 15 plus the 11. That's a 26-yard gain here for Miami on that last play from the 45 now. Hand the ball off to Drake, and this time Drake cannot get on track. And another flag is thrown here.
Holding, offense number 74. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Jermon Bushrod. How bad have the Dolphins been on offense? Yards per game, last in the league. Rushing yards, next to last. Passing yards, 3rd from last. Points, 13, dead last. And of course, a lot of that has to do with the fact that in 2 of their 7 games they were shut out.
And in the 3rd one, I think they scored in the final play of the game, right?
Right.
But I think they've won every game that they scored 1 point that didn't come in the last 10 seconds.
1st and 20, swing it out to Drake. Picks up about 9. Well, Adam Gase wears his emotions on his sleeve when it comes to this offense.
Defense is fine. Special teams, we seem to be all right. Maybe that's because it's just easy. Just run straight and hit somebody. But offensively, it's a joke. You know, we got too many guys that don't want to take it home with them. So until our best players actually put forth some effort, it'll be.
Well, maybe part of the reason that Ajayi got traded. You saw Drake running it here. 3rd and 6. Well, remember, Gase's pedigree is offense. That's how he got the job here.
Well, you think back to some of the days he had with the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning. They were putting up huge numbers out there. So you know he knows how to put it all together. And I just think he put a stake in the ground this week, and he said, I'm going to find out who wants to stay and play, and everybody else go on your way.
Cutler is 6 out of 6 with 48 yards. Dances away, 7 for 7. Devontae Parker, he'll pick up the first down and plenty more before he's bounced out of bounds at the 22-yard line.
Boy, you love seeing this. Watch the pocket in front of Jay Cutler. We've seen games from Jay Cutler where he backs up 12, 13, 14 yards because that pressure just keeps coming right back to him. But he has now moved to his left and made big passes, moved to his right. It doesn't look like those ribs are giving him much of a problem at this point, except when he sneezes, as he told us.
Yes, 2 cracked ribs in the game against the Jets. He came out of the game, and Matt Moore led them to a come-from-behind win. And Moore was at the helm in that 40-0 debacle in Baltimore. Going nowhere on first down. This is Williams, stopped there by Bruce Irvin, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and Bruce Irvin, we haven't said his name a lot. We haven't said Khalil Mack's name a lot. That is really the 2 cornerstones of this defense. And yet one of the problems, Al, is when your man coverage lets you down on the back end, you can't blitz. So if you can't blitz, you can't get those guys in one-on-one blocking situations, so you don't get many sacks either. Just 12 sacks total on the year for 2 of the great pass rushers, throw in Mario Edwards as well.
And for Mack, only 1 half sack in the last 4 games. Dumped over the middle, Damian Williams, and he'll take the ball to the 10-yard line for a first down before Bowman makes the tackle, and they'll spot it at the 10 and make it first down and goal.
Here's the #1 draft pick of the Miami Dolphins, Laramie Tunsil on the outside, working against the Defensive Player of the Year, and Khalil Mack. That's nicely done. These guys are really built to be pass protectors. Laramie Tunsil, Mike Pouncey, Jawan James, they're all incredible athletes, and so pass protection should come easy for them. So if Jay Cutler and these receivers can get it going with the passing game, they may be able to hold up in those one-on-ones.
Cutler not liking what he saw when they lined up on a roll to the right. He throws, it's caught and taken to the 3-yard line, and maybe more, and Williams dives in for the touchdown. How about Damian Williams on a roll to the right, taking it, breaking tackles, and then diving in to give Miami the lead.
All right, Damian Williams, way to go. That was pretty awesome. Jay Cutler on the move again. Now watch Damian Williams. 3 guys going to hit him at the same time. Boom, boom. And he just goes, wait, well, let's go. The only thing he had a hard time doing is figuring out which way to dive. He got spun completely around. They don't take him down. That is a great play by Damian Williams.
Spun away from McDonald. Williams, he has a nose to the end zone. He touched the ball 58 times last year, had 6 touchdowns, but the kick now is off the upright and no good by Cody Parkey. So 10:37 remaining in the first half. Miami 6, Oakland 3. Football being brought to you by BMW. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine. By AT&T, by ExxonMobil. Learn more at energyfactor.com. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. That was Monday. Jarvis Landry visiting Marine Forces south of Doral to surprise Staff Sergeant Shane Williams. There he is, right, with tickets for him and his daughters to attend their first Dolphins game, and it's an onside kick, and Miami for the moment looked like they had it, but Parkey winds up with the football. Has to go 10 yards. I believe it did, and then the kicker winds up recovering it himself.
Here's the 10-yard marker right here. Cody Parkey, he's going to just dribble it. Does he wait long enough? Has to cross the line. He does. That's a one-man game right there. That's like just give it to Michael Jordan or LeBron James and get out of the way, right? Cody Parkey made that play himself, and we are seeing Adam Gase saying, guys, you put in the work, I'll put in the work, we'll take some chances, here we go.
Darren Rizzi and Brad Seeley, the 2 special teams coaches. One's pretty happy, and of course Brad on the right going, what in the, come on. Kicker recovers his own onside kick, and Miami has the ball at the 48-yard line. Kenyon Drake is the running back. He gets stopped in his tracks for no gain and swarmed over. So again, we don't know who's going to wind up as the ace back here. You saw what Williams did on that touchdown. Drake hasn't been a featured back since high school. He played at Alabama. He's behind a lot of good guys. Eddie Lacy, T.J. Yeldon, and Derrick Henry were some of the guys that he had to back up. He did have a 95-yard kickoff return, though, in that championship game, Alabama against Clemson 2 years ago. So we'll see. Maybe it's by committee. It's Williams and Drake filling in for a Giant.
Yeah, Williams a little more experience, understands the pass protections a little better, but Drake a little flashier.
2nd and 10, and that's caught, and bouncing his way for a first down is Julius Thomas, the ex-Bronco, ex-Jaguar. 11-yard gain, first down, Miami.
Good to see again Julius Thomas. Here's a guy that was tremendous for the Denver Broncos and for Adam Gase, and 12 touchdowns a year. Then he went off to Jacksonville, signed a big contract there. Didn't go quite as well. 5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. Reunites down here with Gase, and no touchdowns so far. If they could ever get him going, he could be so much the key to this offense. Split him out, very difficult one-on-one.
Put a fullback in the game for the first time. Marquise Gray. Give it to him. So he's the third different ball carrier tonight. Meanwhile, Cutler, sore ribs and all, has started 10 for 10 for 97 yards.
Yeah, you can't do it much better than that. And you had to wonder when he had that devastating hit, broke his ribs, and was lying on the ground exactly what he was thinking. You know, he could have been sitting up here in a nice cozy booth like you and I, having a little hot chocolate and enjoying the game. Instead, he couldn't breathe and he couldn't sneeze.
We're not having hot chocolate tonight. It's 78 degrees and a little humid. First down at the 40-yard line. Play action. Cutler floats one wide open. Making the catch is Thomas to the 25-yard line. Good touch. Thomas gets very free, and that's a gain of 15.
Little misdirection that time by Jay Cutler, sliding off to his left. Julius Thomas back to his right. You've watched Jay Cutler over the years. You know he is not afraid of that fadeaway jumper. The turf monster got Thomas that time, but to get him a couple of balls early on this drive, and this is the best this Dolphins offense has looked in some time.
Well, they won a game plus a quarter without scoring. Now they're in position again to get it into the end zone. Play clock is down to 2. Cutler will hand the ball off on the inside give with a nice hole over the left side, but the ball comes out. The ball is out. Kenyon Drake with a fumble, and waiting for the official here. All the Oakland Raiders think they have it. Carl Joseph was the guy who knocked it free, but who has the ball? Oakland. So a nice run. It starts out that way and it ends this way with a turnover. Well, there's the man who created the fumble. Bruce Irvin got it out from behind. Nothing new for him. Last year he forced 6 fumbles to tie for the league lead. That was his first this season, and Kenyon Drake gets consoled by Cutler after the fumble.
Just the lack of experience, what really concerns you with these two running backs.
Oakland now starting from the 19-yard line. Carr fires over the middle, wide open. Jared Cook, what a night this guy's having. Out to the 46-yard line, the tight end, making his 4th catch of the night. That's already 86 yards, 27 on that play for him.
Well, what we've seen so far is the protection's been nearly perfect on the night. These pass rushers just can't get it going. And because of all the early success that Jared Cook had in man coverage, they've been playing zones inside. And because of the pass protection, Cook has plenty of time to work open in the zones now.
There it is, 47 yards per game receiving, and tonight already 86. As he gets a breather. Carr from the 46, the fake to Lynch, and then outside to Crabtree. And Crabtree picks up 11 yards, gets the ball into Dolphin territory. First down. Thursday Night Football coming your way, but a flag before Thursday Night Football even begins to get started.
After the play, personal foul and necessary roughness. Offense number 86.
I was just kidding around. Well, Lee Smith.
15-yard penalty. The line of game was reached. It'll be 1st and 10.
All right.
Did he say I was just kidding around?
Something like that.
That's a pretty good defense. I was just joking when I whacked him.
Not when the yellow comes out. Take a look. Oh, man.
Oh, he was goofing around with somebody he knew.
Right.
You know, that's what happens in the NFL. You end up knowing everybody. And that time, Lee Smith had somebody he knew on the other side of the ball, and he was kind of joking and the official saw it as a dirty play.
So a 15-yard goof. And now this is Lynch. Another flag.
Never going to get this promo in.
Never. Never too late. Never too late to get into fantasy football.
Illegal motion, offense number 87. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
So that's Cook. All right, so here we go. So Chris, you and Mike Tirico, you're on your way to the desert. It's on NBC, starting at 7:30 with pregame coverage. Seattle and Arizona, interesting game in the sense that Seattle lost today. Washington beat them. Rams are now in first place. Arizona is now 4-4, and Adrian Peterson had a great day today. So that's the action. Seattle, Arizona on Thursday night here on NBC.
And they're all chasing the Rams at this
Yes,
point.
they are. 6-2 are the Rams. And, well, let's see. We've got a penalty flag for a change.
Holding, offense number 87. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
So that's back-to-back penalties on Cook. And the other tight end, Smith, had the other one. So that's 3 straight penalties on Oakland tight ends.
Yeah, well, Jared Cook, obviously known a lot more for his receiving ability than what he is his blocking, and you can see it there. But there's a good young player, Charles Harris, that he was working against, and he showed flashes of really becoming an excellent player. Number 90 down the road. Keep an eye on him on the end of the line of scrimmage.
Makes it 1st down and 25 from the 28-yard line. Carr to the outside. That's hauled in, and Jared Cook, after a couple of penalties, picks up about 12 yards on that to make it 2nd down and 13.
It's a little bit interesting what's going on in the secondary of the Miami Dolphins. Nate Allen got hurt, so Michael Thomas is the starting safety, but because he's such a valuable member, number 31, such a valuable member of special teams, when it gets to 3rd down, they take him out and put in number 27, Maurice Smith, so Thomas can rest for the special teams unit. Never really heard of that before, but that's the way it is for this game.
2nd and 14. Here comes the corner blitz. Hand the ball off to Washington. Nice run there to the 50-yard line. He goes. So they were 1st and 25, and now they're 3rd and 3.
Okay, this is what the Raiders are capable of over here. They block, and Gabe Jackson come around, and you just let all those big $10 million per year offensive linemen take over, but they gobbled up the great majority of that, whatever it was, 2nd and a million. There's the flip-flop at safety, so that Michael Thomas comes out. Lee Smith goes in.
They reposition Lynch into the backfield. You got 3 receivers set to the left side, and they give the ball to Lynch, and Lynch is able to pick up the 1st down. So he finally gets semi on track to the 44-yard line. By far his best gain of the night. That'll go for 6 yards. He gets 5 carries for a total of 8 yards tonight. 1st down.
Boy, a tough matchup on the outside for Marshall Newhouse, who really has played pretty well for the Raiders against Ndamukong Suh. Got him out of the way just enough to pick up that 1st down. And keep that sequence in mind as we go down the road. What was it, 2nd and about 30, and they end up converting that 1st down?
Well, 1st and 25 after the penalties. So they make up all that ground and snap it from the 44. Fake to Lynch, buys time, going deep downfield, and it Johnny Holton for the touchdown. Johnny Holton makes his first catch of the night for 44 yards. And Oakland retakes the lead. That is only his second catch of the season. The other was a touchdown catch of 64 yards.
Here's a guy that is known strictly for his speed. Johnny Holton, the plan tonight as they began to substitute around these safeties was to try and get some deep balls down the field against Michael Thomas, Rashad Jones. They held it for the right moment, and bingo, touchdown after converting that first and 25.
To Vecchio, the extra point. So 2 catches for the year for Holton, both for touchdowns. 44 yards here. 10-6, Oakland. Next Sunday in Phoenix, 5 drivers, including 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson, will be racing to earn just one remaining spot in NASCAR's championship race at 2:30 Eastern next Sunday on NBC. As you take a look at an aerial shot of Homestead Speedway, not far from here in South Florida, where the championship will be determined in 2 weeks. Kickoff. Grant running it back, starts to stumble and brings it back to the 20, and we go to the field. And Michelle.
Well, Al, Miami's Kenny Stills, Julius Thomas, and Michael Thomas all knelt during tonight's national anthem. Now, the team rule had been to stand for the anthem or wait in the tunnel. But Dolphins public relations told me those 3 players went to Adam Gase during the week and asked him to relax the rule because it was interfering with their pregame preparation. Now, Gase's preference was to keep the rule in place, but out of respect for their right to protest, he relaxed the policy tonight, Al.
And there is the end result of that. Stephen Ross on the left, Mike Tannenbaum on the right, who runs the football operations. Ross, the owner of the team. As they look on, and Miami has it from the 20-yard line and off the play fake. And the cross goes to Williams, and Damian Williams this time gets wrestled down to the 22-yard line by Navarro Bowman. Second down, let's call it 7.
You know, all that's such a complex issue. The one thing that you hear thrown around sometimes is free speech. But free speech applies to the government. Can't keep you from saying anything, right? Your employer certainly can, but I think the NFL is trying to find some middle ground to make this thing work for everybody, and at some point we hope it gets resolved.
I mean, the league just hates this.
Well, yeah.
It's the ultimate distraction. They hate it. Cutler, who's 12 for 12, is now 13 for 13. And to the 25-yard line goes Jarvis Landry. TJ Carey makes the stop. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Well, it was an interesting year for Jarvis Landry as well, wasn't it? Here he was, one of the best players on this team, absolutely no question about it, and they were trying to get his contract renegotiated. Tannehill got hurt. They had to pay Cutler, and then they couldn't pay Jarvis Landry, and so that became complicated.
Meanwhile, as we approach the 2-minute warning, Terry McCauley tells us.
Encroachment, defense number 96. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Nico Autry, and that will move the chains. Had been a 2nd down and 4. Jack Del Rio pacing.
Here we go. There's the Nico Autry. Let's take a look. Yep. You're supposed to watch the ball. I can't get much closer to the ball than that.
They wind the clock to the 2-minute warning. 10-6 Raiders. Well, the discussion among the guys at halftime will be, did the Giants quit on Ben McAdoo as the Rams bombed the Giants today? And Dak Prescott leads Dallas to a 3rd straight win as they knock off Kansas City in Arlington, Texas. Now from the 31, first down for Cutler. He's 13 of 13. He's 14 of 14. A lot of the stuff has been short, but effective as Damian Williams takes the ball out to the 35-yard line.
Now, this looks like a completely different offensive line of the Miami Dolphins. They're taking on their blocks much sooner. They're not backing up nearly as much as they have in the past few weeks, and it is allowing Jay Cutler to play at a much higher level.
And he swings it to the outside, and that spin move nets Williams.
There's another.
First down, and there is a flag. Late hit right in front of the Miami bench.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 42, late hit out of bounds, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Carl Joseph.
Well, that was some move again by Williams, wasn't it?
Yeah.
One-on-one on the outside against Dexter McDonald. Spin move and get out of bounds and draw the foul right there. That was a foul, no question. But Damian Williams, you know, this guy's not a joke. He's 5'11". He weighs 224 pounds. He really understands the passing game and the pass protection. He ran 4.45 seconds. Oklahoma, I mean, this guy has the package. And now if we can just get him paired up a little bit with Kenyon Drake, have him hold onto the ball, would be good.
Spinorama takes it. Drake does over the middle. And Drake gets the ball down to the 32-yard line. Second down and 3. Clock ticking down. Miami has its full complement of timeouts. Keep it on the ground, but not for long, as Kenyon Drake gets taken down at the 30-yard line.
It just feels like Adam Gase and this offense have a little rhythm going now, doesn't it? You know, and you don't want to say that trading Jay Ajayi made all this difference, but I think that this entire team woke up a little bit and realized the flaws that they had, and they fixed some of those flaws so far in this first half.
I thought it was been perfect. A lot of the stuff underneath, and that one gets batted and incomplete. And that would have been a short pass. They only needed 2 yards, and now you got a 4th down coming up. Autry was in there, but he needs a moment now as he bends over.
Goes Autry right there working against Bushrod and just worked around the edge. But the one thing you've seen, and one of the guys that has probably made the bigger difference on the outside of him, Juwan James, used to back up and almost get into Jay Cutler. He has taken on his blocks much sooner on the outside, and it's given Cutler a lot more room and a lot more time.
Cody Parkey, who missed an extra point, is 8 of 9 in field goal attempts from 49 yards. This one is good. So he's only missed 1 field goal this year, but he's missed 3 extra points. 32 seconds to the half, and we're back in 30 seconds. Wednesday night rivalry night, National Hockey League action on NBCSN. 2 of the original 6, the Bruins and the Rangers. Rangers were down in South Florida last night, beat the Panthers in overtime, coming away 8 Eastern time Wednesday on NBCSN. 32 seconds to the break. Oakland has 2 timeouts, and we're going to start with Patterson running it back, one of the best run back men in the league. This time he can only get it back to the 24-yard line, and Carr and company have 28 seconds to work some magic.
How about Marshawn Lynch? 5 carries for 8 yards in this game. So much for my opening on camera, thinking that they could actually get the running game going. But these 2 quarterbacks have simply been red hot. Only 4 passes have even hit the ground tonight. And so if you can throw it like that, I guess you don't necessarily have to run it. But we've seen the Dolphins establish their running game a bit more.
Lynch tonight held in check. Jalen Richard comes in right now for pass protection. In all likelihood, from the 23-yard line. Carr fires over the middle, and that's caught. And that's Amari Cooper to the 50-yard line. A South Florida kid, grew up here, takes it to the 50. Tankersley makes the tackle, and timeout is taken here for a 26-yard gain. They'll have the ball at their own 49-yard line.
There we go, Amari Cooper on that crossing route. And so many times you have to occupy this middle linebacker right there. Don't allow him to drop back. They had the receiver underneath, and Boy, Amari Cooper's had a bizarre year this year, hasn't he? He had that one huge game against the Kansas City Chiefs, 11 for 210 and 2 touchdowns after coming off 2 Pro Bowl seasons and 1,000 yards. And then other than that, not a whole lot. So when he's good, he is great, but it just hasn't happened enough.
Well, he was great that night. In fact, he had more yardage that night than he had, as you can see there, in the other 7 games combined. That was his first grab tonight. 20 seconds and 1 timeout. Carr throws it, tip, almost intercepted. Lucky it wasn't. 13 seconds, so that took 7 off the clock, and it's going to be 2nd down and 10.
Now that's one of those I'm not so sure. Was that Alonso? That he wouldn't have had that ball had it not been tipped. You can see exactly who it was. Might have been Maurice Smith too. Watch this ball. It's going to get tipped, but right behind him. I mean, it looked like an easy interception, and then the tip actually put it where he couldn't catch it.
Goodshaw was the guy who deflected it. 2nd down and 10. Carr going deep downfield, and that is incomplete with 6 seconds. Cooper, the intended receiver, Maurice Smith covering on the play, and it makes it 3rd down with 6 ticks left.
Right out here, one of the best pass rushers in the National Football League, and between the good block of Marshall Newhouse and the chip by the back, it's not that hard to figure out how to handle the Miami Dolphins. There's a couple things you have to do. You have to double team Ndamukong Suh. You have to chip against Cameron Wake on the outside, and you have to watch out for number 20 Rashad Jones, because he's going to be somewhere around the line of scrimmage and blitzing a lot.
Carr over the middle, but that's not going to be enough to do anything. Well, 1 second and the timeout, so hold your horses. Jared Cook.
And final charge timeout, Oakland.
The microphone acting up because it's been used so much tonight. Go to Michelle.
Well, Giorgio Tavecchio told me he could kick 55 in either direction, although during the pregame he did convert from 56 going in this direction, Al, so we'll see what he does.
Well, he's got an opportunity here. He had a tremendous debut in Tennessee. Again, Janikowski got hurt. That gave Tavecchio the opportunity to come in and kick 4 field goals in the opening game in Nashville. This one's going to be spotted at the 43, so it's going to be a 53-yard boot. Marquette King will put it down, and Tavecchio will try to make it a 4-point game. Miami will get the ball to start the 2nd half. John Kondo will snap it, but not quite yet.
Charge timeout, Miami. 30 seconds timeout.
All right, freezing them on a 78-degree night.
You need some hot chocolate.
Right. You never know.
You know, this is one where probably the special teams coach, Darren Rizzi, is going to say, listen, guys, in order for him to kick it this far, it has to have a low trajectory. So let's get the push right up the middle. Let's not allow him that line drive shot to get those extra yards. So let's see if they bully up a little bit inside. But also you have to remember they have the center protected on field goals, so you can't get on him to push. But they are crammed up tight right there.
Shoulder to shoulder. And Tavecchio, the Italian-born kicker who went to Cal, bangs it through by a lot. And that gives Oakland a 13-9 lead at halftime here in Miami. Coming up next to the halftime, right after these messages from your NBC station.
Welcome to the Toyota Halftime. Let's go places.
Big thrill for a kid born in this area. Miami-born Johnny Holton catches the long ball from Derek Carr. Raiders on top. At the break to talk about it, we send you to Dan Patrick, Tony Dungy, and Rodney Harrison.
Mike, thank you. A little bit of everything, not exactly textbook football there. What stood out?
He can pat himself on the back now.
Why?
Because you said that they need to be a lot more aggressive.
And we saw that onside kick from Miami. I'd love to see that. Derek Carr taking some deep shots. This is what I want to see. This is a playoff atmosphere.
All right, the Dallas Cowboys, the difference with Dak Prescott this year as opposed to last year, big win against Kansas City this afternoon. What would be the number one thing?
I would say last year I felt like he felt like he needed to have Ezekiel Elliott in order to have success. This year he's playing with a lot more confidence, and he understands as far as the suspension and all those things that he has to be the leader. And he's playing with a lot of confidence, a lot of poise. He sits there, no one's open, but his ability to scramble, throw across his body, keep the vision down the field, and make those plays, that's what I like about him.
He's a playmaker, and he feels like this is his offense now. You can see it, and I agree with you. Confidence is the key.
Well, last year he thought it was going to be Tony Romo's team, and then he sort of inherited. Now he knows it's his. Giants and the Broncos each give up 51 points. Whose effort was more concerning to you?
I would say the Giants. I'm just very disappointed in the Giants because, to me, you show how much you love the game by how hard you play and how much you respect your coach by how hard you play. And to me, the Giants flat out quit. And it's no excuse. This is 3rd down and 33, Coach. I've never seen this before. But you look at Eli Apple. He's just afraid. There's no effort. This is a first-round draft choice. This is your defense. This is what you're trying to build around him. Landon Collins and some of those other guys, it's just inexcusable.
Undisciplined angles, bad tackling, lack of effort. Just did not see any energy from the Giants today coming off a bye.
And also, Eli Manning, he has to be held accountable as well, Dan.
Yeah, but the Broncos are supposed to have a great defense.
They are.
I mean, the Eagles roughed them up.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in their leadership, and the fact is, Coach, they gave up as well.
They did, and quarterback issues there, that can derail you as fast as anything.
We've got the Broncos and the Patriots next Sunday night on Football Night in America. Coming up next, Mike Tirico on the state of the NFC West ahead of Seahawks Cardinals on Thursday night. But first, Toyota shows us how competition never gets old. In fact, it just keeps getting better.
BC.
Jay Cutler 16 of 17 in the first half. The home team, Miami, trailing by 4 at the halfway point of this one. The halfway point, the surprise team of this NFL season, has to be the Los Angeles Rams. A franchise that has not had a winning season since 2003 has opened 6-2. The youngest head coach in modern NFL history, 31-year-old Sean McVay, has the Rams offense rolling. 4 touchdown passes for Jared Goff, part of the 51 points today on the way to embarrassing the Giants. The division-leading Rams have scored over 40 in a game 3 times this year. They lead the West alone after that wild finish in Seattle. Russell Wilson's touchdown pass to Doug Baldwin in the final 2 minutes, and all the looks of one of those classic Seahawks somehow pull it out wins. But the Redskins' Josh Doctson got behind the Seattle defense, leading to a Washington game-winning touchdown, and Pete Carroll's team hits the midway point at 5-3. Meantime, Game 3 for Adrian Peterson as a Cardinal was his best. An NFL season-high 37 carries, which is also his career high. He had 159 yards. Cardinals a 2010 win to keep the 49ers winless. So the NFC West race shaping up as an interesting one. The Rams undefeated on the road in first place, followed by the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Those two teams have finished 1-2 in the division the last 3 years. And they meet in the desert on Thursday Night Football. Our coverage will begin at 7:30 Eastern right here on NBC with Football Night in Arizona. Tomorrow, on Today, Matt Savannah will have all the latest breaking news from overnight following today's church shooting in Texas. That's tomorrow morning on Today. Second half of Dolphins and Raiders coming up from South Florida in just a moment.
This has been the Toyota Halftime. Let's go places. Half highlights are brought to you by Chevrolet.
Stand up and cheer, stop the beat, start clapping. NBC Sunday night about to happen.
Hard Rock Stadium is ready to rock as the Dolphins meet the Oakland Raiders on Sunday Night Football. It's caught and taken to the 3-yard line and maybe more, and Williams dives in for the touchdown.
All right, Damian Williams, way to go.
Going deep downfield, and it is caught by Johnny Holton for the touchdown.
Chevy has earned J.D. Power Dependability Awards for cars, trucks, and SUVs.
Back we come to Miami on this warm night. Downtown Miami there. Hard Rock Stadium here. The buzz. Derek Carr, 206 yards. That touchdown pass to Holton. Good first half for him. Meanwhile, Cutler, only one errant pass, 141 yards, a lot of short stuff, and you saw the TD. Cooks had a big night. The Oakland tight end with 6 catches for 113. Damian Williams looking pretty good too. Some good moves, 39 receiving yards, and that touchdown catch. Set up a whole bunch of fireworks here at Hard Rock Stadium. Put the canopy up here. This used to be, many moons ago, Joe Robbie Stadium. It became about 18 different names, whatever it was. Now it's Hard Rock Stadium. Miami Gardens. Most of the crowd is protected from the elements. Looking down into not quite the hole in the roof, but did a nice job here. Meanwhile, set off all those fireworks. We are not back in New England where we were 2 weeks ago when the fog rolled in. So it looks that way right now.
Well, the roof is holding it in now.
That's the thing. The canopy keeps all the heat in and the smoke. 13-9 is the score. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Michelle Tafoya start the second half with a touchback and down to the smoky sidelines of Michelle.
Well, I asked Adam Gase if he thought his team was responding to the challenge he gave them this week, and he said, I think we're playing pretty well. He likes what they're doing, and he thinks they're trying to do it the right way. They just need to clean up some details. As for Jack Del Rio, he told me he wants his defense to get Jay Cutler on the ground, and in order to do that, his secondary needs to cover better. He also joked, Al, that they're still looking for that elusive first interception of the season.
Yeah, that's 8.5 games, Michelle, without a single interception.
First team ever.
And because of all the smoke here, we're going to do the same thing that we did in Foxborough 2 weeks ago. Fred Cadelli and Drew Esikoff decide the best way to watch this game is from the camera just above Jay Cutler. He swings one out to the left side, and that is incomplete, intended for Julius Thomas.
Well, here's Jay Cutler, who I thought was tremendous. The only incompletion he had was batted back over his own head. And what we saw was he started gaining confidence in his protection, and instead of moving backwards, started moving sideways or forward and stepping up in the pocket. And when he does that, he is a very dangerous quarterback.
Now on the ground, this is Damian Williams swinging to the outside. Flag is thrown. Got a ton already. 8 against Oakland accepted. 4 against Miami have been accepted. Terry McCauley.
Holding, offense number 77. 10-yard penalty, second down.
That's the left guard, Jesse Davis.
Yeah, it really wasn't necessary. He had the good block. They had the double team up to the linebacker. And you will see it right there. He kind of gets his arm wrapped around the shoulder pad of Navarro Bowman, and that was the call. It's been interesting watching Cutler here in this first half. During the first 7 games of the season, he was pressured 38% of the time. This great Oakland Raiders pass rush and pass rushers just 12% in that first half, so he has had more time than usual to throw.
Yes. 1 time out of 8 pass attempts, and now you got a flag again.
Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty, second down.
So that's Davis back to back, puts him in a 2nd and 25.
Yeah, he's played pretty well, but he has lurking behind him Ted Larson, who has been on IR with a biceps injury and may well be ready by this point next week. And also the Dolphins are going to get TJ McDonald off an 8-game suspension, and he likely will be that other safety beside Rashad Jones a week from now.
2nd and 25. This is Kenyon Drake. Miami does not have a bye week because of Hurricane Irma that came through here and postponed the opening game, so their bye week becomes November 19th against Tampa Bay. Next week they're at Carolina.
where they had just about everything that could happen to a team happen in the first half of the season. Chris Forrester, of course, the assistant coach, who had an inglorious moment on social media. And that changed everything.
And resigned the next day, 3rd down and 21. And Cutler picks up some of that yardage, but not enough to prevent the punt team from coming out. Julius Thomas is there. It'll be 4th down.
Well, Julius Thomas certainly has been a factor here in the first half, but the Raiders are going to give them this one. And this one is coverage from Obi Melifonwu. There we go. And he is a guy that they are very high on getting his first start tonight. Had to say his name, and of course got it wrong.
I thought you were going to Juan Kenobi at a certain point there.
That was in the fog.
the 21, Jalen Richard. And he's able to bring the ball back out past the 30-yard line, and that's where Oakland sets up shop for the first time in the second half, up by 4 in Miami.
Derek Carr's favorite athlete of all time, Kobe Bryant. How do I know this? Watch this little similar style. He's going to throw the touchdown pass down the field to fast Johnny Holton. There it is. Let's take a look at his form. The follow through, there you go, just like that. Where have we seen that before? Right there. Money.
Yep.
Pretty awesome. Only Fred Gadelli and Drew Essenkopf comes up with that.
Name a sport where you don't want to follow through. Golf?
We should try and golf sometime.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Won't help. From the 33-yard line, they begin this drive. Marshawn Lynch is in the backfield, who's been limited to 8 yards on 5 carries. And Lynch really next to nowhere here, 2 or 3 yards. Again, we're shooting a lot of the live shots from up above because they had all these fireworks that went off at halftime. And with the canopy here, the smoke is remaining in the building for the most part.
There are a lot of good players going to work inside, but this Devin Gottschall, who is a rookie they took in the 5th round, they described him as like an old-fashioned safe. He just stands in there and extends both arms and can hold up the guard and the tackle or the guard in the center and allow the linebackers to come up and make plays. He has really been an asset on this defensive line.
Lynch. And finally Marshawn Lynch is able to find some space, find some room, break a tackle or 2, and take the ball to the 50-yard line where he's tackled by Rashad Jones, and that's a gain of 14.
Really nice job over here on this side of that offensive line. Watch the double team, and then Gabe Jackson, who came off that ankle injury, up to that next level. Marshawn Lynch looked a little like he did running against that high school team.
And you've got the pass that will be taken by Amari Cooper to the 30-yard line for a first down. So another good-looking drive here for the Raiders. That's a gain of 20.
Well, they get their 2 wideouts in the backfield. There's Crabtree over there and just hit him on a little swing route, taking advantage of Michael Thomas, a backup, being in there in the game. And there's a strange formation, maybe one they came up with over at the IMG Academy. Bradenton.
They were in Bradenton. They hung around Florida all week after playing in Buffalo last week. Richard is the back. Takes it to the 29-yard line. Again, going back to how critical this game is for Oakland. And they got a big break today when Kansas City loses to Dallas. If they can pull this one out, not the end of the world. They'd be 4-5, going to a bye week. They already own a tiebreaker for the moment over Kansas City. They have to play them one more time this year, but they beat them. Of course, they have a bye week next week, and then they have a home game, in a manner of speaking, in Mexico City. It's their home game against New England.
Not easy on either count.
Carr on second down, fires out to Lynch, and he'll get bumped out of bounds near the 22-yard line. So Marshawn Lynch was in Seattle for many years. You all know that. Retired, came back because he's an Oaklander. Went to school there, got suspended a couple of weeks ago against Kansas City, and then what he did when the team was in Buffalo is he worked out with a high school team. Ran over that guy there. And that's how he stayed in shape.
That guy loves Oakland, his hometown, as much as any human being could love their hometown. I think that was the only thing that got him back to professional football.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And a few bucks.
Yeah,
there goes Lynch inside the 10. Marshawn Lynch all the way to the end zone. 22 yards. So Lynch, who had done nothing. Penn salutes him. Lynch still has the ball. 67 yards on 6 plays for the Oakland TD.
Watch Ndamukong Suh. They have the trap coming, but because the 2 linemen around him sort of fake, he just falls down, and Marshawn Lynch takes off, and they don't even have to block Ndamukong Suh. Great job on the outside by those 2 offensive linemen, both feigning like they were going to hit Ndamukong Suh. Neither did, and Suh ended up falling on his face.
Lynch had 8 yards total before that drive and 39 on that drive. Tavecchio for the extra point. And with 9:23 remaining in the 3rd quarter, the Oakland Raiders, thanks to Lynch's touchdown, have extended their lead to 11 in South Florida. As you look at the port of Miami, we can tell you the show The Brave. All new episode coming your way tomorrow. And you can see it at 10 Eastern and Pacific, 9 Central and Mountain, right here on the National Broadcasting Company. Tavecchio to kick off. And Miami will start from the 25-yard line. Back to the touchdown we go.
And Ndamukong Suh is so used to getting double teamed. Watch this. Newhouse and Gabe Jackson are both going to fake like they're going to double team him and then go the other direction. And Suh had so much momentum getting ready for that double team that coming over was Kelechi Osemele, and he couldn't even find Ndamukong Suh, which left it wide open for Marshawn Lynch one-on-one in the open field. And Michael Thomas, no way was he going to be able to make that tackle. He's a force. He is one tough guy to get on the ground. More elusive than he gets credit for, too.
For some spectacular years and runs in Seattle. He's Cutler throws and it's caught on the run and close to a first down. Kenyon Drake hauling it in. Spotted out of bounds at just about the 35-yard line as they line it up right now. First down.
Kenyon Drake, their #1 tackler, is a special teamer, but Marshawn Lynch, as you watch him play over the years, not only can he run over people, he has some brilliant moves getting around people. That's a tough combination to try and deal with.
Cutler has to throw it in the ground as he was under pressure that time and complete. Second down and 10. Jay, 18 of 21 tonight, completed his first 16 in a row.
Now that was a rare blitz that time by the Oakland Raiders. They finally end up slanting this line as these guys, I can't which way they ended up going, but left or right, and then Bowman comes around the outside, and Cutler knew he was in trouble right away. So if that one caused Jay Cutler some issues, let's see if they come back to it.
Their blitz rate opens is third lowest in the league. Huge hole over the right side, and that's Kenyon Drake. Stiff arms the guy out of the way. Gets by Joseph and takes the ball all the way to the 23-yard line. Put a stiff arm on McDonald and a run here of 42 yards.
Watch Anthony Fasano come down on this tight end trap, and just nobody home there. And the one thing we have seen in past games, even though it was limited, Kenyon Drake has a very explosive side to him. Big plays all over.
One-handed catch as he gets to the line in a hurry, and that's Landry. Jarvis Landry, who is second in the league in receptions behind only Antonio Brown, who has a bye week this week. And that's only the third catch of the night for Landry for a total of 19 yards. That was good for 5.
Yeah, and the hurry-up offense really caught the Raiders off guard that time. And one of the things Adam Gase wanted to do for Cutler was give him an opportunity to pop in and out of that no huddle and try and do exactly that to begin to have control of the pace of the game.
Damien Williams comes into the backfield. Cutler looks that way, then throws, caught, first down, and then stumbling down is Kenny Stills. So Kenny Stills, good receiver, but he finally works his way into the action on his first catch of the night.
Yeah, a pick that probably should have been called there. Jarvis Landry coming across and got a good chunk of the man-to-man coverage guy you'll see coming over. They'll end up picking that guy right there. Dong. TJ Carey got it.
Ball spotted at the 9. It's first down and goal. Miami trying to answer that Oakland touchdown drive to start the third quarter. Cutler flips one out to the right side, and then it's caught by Anthony Fasano, the tight end, and McDonald rides him out of bounds after a very short gain, 2 yards.
It is dangerous to leave Khalil Mack with only a back out there to get him. That time they sort of acted like Fasano was going to block him, didn't. And then poor Damian Williams was staring down number 52, and that's no fun.
They love to pass in these situations.
This is where Julius Thomas, in days gone by, playing far out to the right, would be so dangerous.
Throws, it's caught at the 4 and taken in by Jarvis Landry for the touchdown. Well, after Oakland moved down the field to take an 11-point lead, Miami answers with a drive of 75 yards.
They put Corey James out here and then blitz him, so this little pick play on the outside by Julius Thomas, nicely done. He didn't get called for it, just enough of a distraction for Dexter McDonald coming over there to try and make a play, and that was a tremendous drive by the Miami Dolphins.
One run, but it was a beauty. 42 yards, 6 passes. Extra point by Parkey is good. And with 6.5 to go in the third, it is Oakland 20, Miami 16 on Sunday Night Football. Mark Davis, of course, in attendance tonight, the owner of the Oakland Raiders, watching his team for the moment out in front by 4, 20-16. Each team has marched to a touchdown drive here. Cordero Patterson lines up in the end zone, hopeful of being able to run this one back. Might. Yep, a couple of yards in. Patterson, and a juke move there, down the sideline he goes. Pretty good run back out to the 32, hit by Parkey. So you saw Mark Davis, and what they're going to do, of course, is move to Las Vegas. And a week from tomorrow, they're going to break ground on what will be Raiders Stadium. So they're breaking ground, and there's the artist's rendering of it. It'll have a permanent roof, so they'll be playing inside. And talking to Mark before the game, he's hopeful they'll be able to get in there by 2020. We'll see. You never know with construction and weather and all the rest, but that's what his hope is. From the 32-yard line on first down, Carr flips it incomplete to the outside. Intended there for Jared Cook. Be second down and 10.
Yeah, and that time even the Miami Dolphins, who really did not blitz much in the first half, sent a little pressure with Kiko Alonso. So I think they've seen enough of these easy throws, and the belief was that if they could hurry up Derek Carr a little bit, that sometimes just the feel of a blitz, he has a tendency to get the ball out of his hand a little quicker. So maybe some of those easy throws to the tight end, Jared Cook, won't be so easy this half. Here comes again.
Second and 10, the blitz coming. He gets it away quickly. He hits Cooper this time, and Amari Cooper comes up about 4 yards short of the first down. Third down upcoming.
Well, nobody gets the ball out of his hands quicker than Derek Carr does. He sees the pressure. He saw Alonso, and there it goes. One of those Green Bay sweep type plays where the wide receivers in front of them just basically turn and block, don't even look back for a pass.
Crowd into it on the 3rd down and 4 for the Raiders. To the outside goes the pass, and nothing happening there. The coverage is terrific. Seth Roberts makes the grab. Bobby McCain is right there to stuff him, and it's 4th down and 5.
You know, so many times you see big mistakes come off of that bunch formation where people get jumbled up and picked and all that, but that was a great job that time by the Dolphins and Bobby McCain. They just zoned it off and let the receiver come to him, no problem. There we go. You're going to see him come straight outside, and the outside guy, McCain, just took him instead of following the inside guys.
He's Marquette King, and that kick was almost blocked. Fair catch is called for and made at the 18-yard line by Shaquem Graham. Miami with the ball. 5 minutes to go in the 3rd. Oakland by 4. That's how Week 10 will start in the National Football League. Thursday Night Football on NBC. You got Seattle against Arizona, NFC West battle. Coverage starts at 7:30. And I want you to be ready to go with Mike at 8:26 Eastern Time. A moment sooner.
I'll be doing my homework starting at 12:01 tonight, I think.
Or earlier. From the 18-yard line on 1st down, they begin with Kenyon Drake. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. Khalil Mack, haven't called his name that much tonight.
No, and we all know what he is, Defensive Player of the Year. But this has been one of those games that the Miami Dolphins have been able to establish enough of a running game that you really have not allowed him to get into some pure pass rush mode kind of style. And the other thing, Al, you have to say is this field is just a little mushy. It really doesn't help the great pass rushers on either side of the ball.
Butler with a clean uniform tonight takes the high snap and gets rid of it in a hurry. And the tackle is made immediately on Landry by T.J. Carey up at the 21-yard line. So that'll set up a 3rd down here, 3rd and let's call it 7.
Yeah, and everything's been short tonight. And we came on the air talking about the fact that the Raiders have given up so many deep balls. I don't remember a deep pass even being thrown really at this point in the game by the Miami Dolphins. The Raiders, because of some of those issues early in the year, have pretty well stayed in their zone defenses, 2 deep safeties, just not wanting to give up that big play.
Just everything underneath. Longest gain on a reception for Miami tonight is 19 yards. They blitz here, and Cutler throws, and that is incomplete. Parker, the intended receiver, McDonald greeted him as the ball got there, and it's 4th and 7.
Well, once again, this time they did go man-to-man on the outside, but you didn't really see Devontae Parker even get to the line to gain there, and so it made it a little bit easier. Believe me, Dexter McDonald knew where that 1st down line was, too, and expected that throw.
Matt Hawk, a rookie from Arizona State, to punt. Line drive kick, returnable, fielded at the 31 by Jalen Richard. And he takes it to the 39-yard line with 3.5 to go in the quarter. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. By T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. By the 2018 Kia Sorento. Learn more at kia.com. And by Untuckit, shirts designed to be worn untucked. Untuckit.com. Friday night, Miramar Patriots beat St. Thomas Aquinas 44-27. State champion. Both teams heading to the playoffs after clinching their respective district titles. Oakland now starts from the 38-yard line. Richard for a minimal gain, 2nd and long.
Nobody's going to get more double teams in this game than Ndamukong Suh. So Marshall Newhouse and Gabe Jackson going to get some movement on him. And one of the things that I think can be a problem for Ndamukong Suh, when they do want to bring some pressure, a lot of times they want to slant him one way or another. But that doesn't always play to his game. His game is a much more vertical, get in the gap, get up the field kind of a player. Very thin stance, almost like a sprinter, a wide receiver coming off the ball.
Inside give here to Rashard. He takes it to the 44-yard line. Tackled there by Charles Harris. 3rd and 5.
Take a look here at Ndamukong Suh. You can't really see him perfectly, but you see he's really his legs. Most defensive linemen have their legs fairly wide apart. He is almost in a sprinter stance and coming straight ahead. Now they've got him walking around here in the middle. And Derek Carr doesn't like that at all. They're going, uh-oh, we got linebackers, we got Ndamukong Suh. What do they have up their sleeve here?
And they come, and the pass is a little low, but it is hauled in at the 50-yard line by Jared Cook, having a great night. Jared Cook now 7 catches, 119 yards.
But you could see what that funny look did to Derek Carr. He felt like there was a lot of pressure coming, and in fact, there were only 4 people rushing on the play. But because they gave that appearance, he almost had to throw it hot and nearly threw it away. But a great play by Cook saved him.
From the 50. Inside handoff, and again, this is Rashard. And then Ndamukong Suh in the sprinter stance, that would scare the hell out of a lot of people, wouldn't it?
Including the guy with the starter pistol. Goodbye. He really is some player, and I know that he catches a lot of heat because he makes so much money, right? And who knows what they're going to do with him. Maybe you restructure the contract. I think he's supposed to make $26 million next year or something. So they have to do something. But he dominates inside, and he draws double teams. I always say I can tell who the good players are on the other team based on who is getting the double teams, and clearly that's Suh and Wake on the Dolphins.
2nd and 5, Rashard runs into a ton of traffic. First guy to text Jay Cutler to come on over when Tannehill got hurt was Ndamukong Suh, and the two certainly had made their acquaintance in all of those years when Jay was in Chicago and Suh was in Detroit.
Well, and playing against each other, of course, Suh had a few of those questionable kind of hits, and Jay Cutler never said a word publicly, never said a bad word about Ndamukong Suh, and Suh said, I always had a lot of respect for him because of that.
3rd and 5. Waning seconds.
Let's see if
they don't even have to get a playoff, and they probably won't. That's the end of the quarter. No need to get a playoff there. It'll be 3rd and 5 when we come back. And 3, 20-16 Oakland. Sunday Night Football back after these messages. Aerial coverage tonight brought to you by Geico. As we start the 4th quarter, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeFoya talking about what an important game it is for both teams, especially for Oakland, but Miami as well. They have a very tough schedule down the stretch. 4 of their last 6 games, though, against New England and Buffalo, staying in the division.
Yeah, well, that division's awfully tough this season, but there's nothing wrong with Miami's defense or their special teams. And if their offense continues to improve the way they have here tonight, maybe they can make a run. They have to win here first.
Right now they need a stop on a 3rd down and 5 as we start the 4th quarter, and the pass is caught in a lot of traffic by Amari Cooper. He gets the Coop sound here. He has a lot of friends here because he grew up in the area.
Yeah, Miami guy, and that was a brave catch. They had the trap defense on here. It looked like he was going to have plenty of room, but instead Bobby McCain turned back inside, and if he had reacted a little quicker to that, might have ended up with a pick 6. Guarantee you, over on the sideline, defensive coordinator Matt Burke is screaming, I called the perfect defense. We should have had that one.
Marshawn Lynch folding balls his way for a gain of about 8 yards, bouncing off the pins as he takes it to the 31-yard line. And there is Burke.
Yeah, we're starting to see a little vintage Marshawn Lynch going here, too. And we talked about how elusive he was, and certainly he makes people miss, and he did on that touchdown run. But the other thing is he runs over people. And that combination late in ball games with this big offensive line is what should be able to put games away in this situation for the Raiders.
2nd and 2. Richard comes into the backfield. Toss to him. Drops it. Recovers and avoids disaster. Had a fumble last week, as did Washington in the game at Buffalo. That was very costly. 3rd down and 4.
Told you earlier, you have to keep an eye on Rashad Jones. He is the guy they love to bring on blitzes. And it was interesting talking with Matt Burke, their defensive coordinator. He said he's just one of those guys. Whether I think it's the right strategy or not, I just have to blitz Rashad Jones sometimes, because not only does it get him fired up, it gets the rest of our defense fired up. And once again there, he makes a play for Matt Burke.
3rd and 4. Juggled and dropped by Seth Roberts. There's a flag, though, in the offensive backfield. It's going to go against Oakland.
And this is going to be interesting. You've got Donald
Holding,
Penn.
offense number 72. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Yeah, I wondered if they might try and drive them out of field goal range with that, but made the decision to decline it and give them the opportunity.
Very interesting option right there, because if you move them back 10, but then you have the other, you still have it down, and then you get, well, you know, you're playing around here. Now, what do you do?
I think he's trying to tell him now he wants the penalty.
He keeps the offense out. What Carr's saying is get the play clock up to 25.
Yeah, and Derek Carr and the offense is still on the field.
Right, and meanwhile, McCauley's not ready to spot the ball.
Correction. Miami has accepted the 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
All right, so that's the option they have chosen. And we'll find out if that was the good path or not. Because then you go back to 3rd down. You take them probably out of field goal range. But now you run the risk of, you know, picking up a 1st down or whatever.
And the best plays the Raiders had in the first half were really 3rd down and about 10 to 15.
They were. So Sue went to McCauley after originally it was determined that they were going to decline the penalty. He says, no, we want to accept it. So there was confusion on both sides momentarily, but when they sorted it all out, you'd be looking at a 61-yard field goal attempt. And of course, the downside to that too would be if you missed it, you'd give Miami the ball at midfield. So Miami takes it. Oakland will have a 3rd and 14 from the 43. Carr under pressure, loses the ball, and it's picked up by Oakland, by Newhouse, and then Newhouse loses the ball. And a whole bunch of Dolphin jerseys are there, and Miami has it. So they avoided disaster. It was Sue who busted up the play. He is slow in getting up. He is shaken up. He'll go to the bench, but Miami winds up with the ball.
Wow.
The good news is Miami gets the ball thanks to that man. The bad news is right there. Sue goes right to the locker room. Clearly we'll get a report as quickly as possible, but he goes in after creating the sack fumble. Meanwhile, Miami has it at the 48-yard line now, and Cutler will swing it out to the right side. Nice move here again by Damian Williams. Boy, is he shifty, but a flag is down for the moment he gets to the 21-yard line. But here is McCauley.
Hold it. Offense number 14. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
There goes a 31-yard play. Jarvis Landry with a hold.
Coming across the field right there as he begins to break loose. Nice job by the veteran Bowman to help the officials with that call. And here we go backwards for the Miami Dolphins. Let's go back to the sack, because this was one spectacular play by Ndamukong Suh coming around. Watch him dive, get the ball out of Derek Carr's hand, and then it was Newhouse who picks it up and tries to change his hand. But watch Sue on the tail end of this play is going to get his knee extended right there. And that, what I believe, is causing him to walk off the field to the locker room.
1st and 12. Marshall up in the spot. Kenyon Drake now. He gets wrestled down by a trio of Oakland Raiders. 2nd down and 10 for a gain of 2. Under 12 minutes to play in the 4th.
Well, this is it. This is the moment for the Miami Dolphins and Adam Gase. You have to be able to take advantage of greatness on the defensive side. That was a great play. They give you the ball at midfield. Now this offense needs to make a play.
Play action on 2nd and 10, and Cutler is under pressure, avoids the sack, and then throws incomplete. As Oakland put the heat on that time. 3rd and 10.
Yeah, we're starting to see some pressure now from this Oakland Raiders defense as Sue looks like he's coming back on the field. Again, the slants and then bringing the linebackers around. One of the 2 linebackers coming inside. And they are changing the tempo now for Jay Cutler. They are starting to get some of the pressure that they lacked in the first half.
And there is Sue coming back to the bench. 3rd and 10. Blitz from the outside. Kenny Stills can only get the ball to the 47-yard line. Dexter McDonald makes the tackle, and it is 4th down and 5 for the Dolphins.
Well, not the end of the world if you can hit a great punt, because you want to shift the pressure now to the Raiders playing backed up late in the football game. But this is where you really need that great punt.
Try to pin him deep. They leave it on the foot of the rookie from ASU Hawk. Nose down. Backspin on the ball. Fair catch call for made at the 10-yard line by T.J. Carey with 10:44 to go on Sunday Night Football with Oakland up by 4 in Miami. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Chevy. Chevy has earned J.D. Power Dependability Awards for cars, trucks, and SUVs. By Microsoft Surface, the official sideline technology provider of the NFL. By Subway, So Much Sandwich. And by Walmart, rock this Christmas with Walmart. The Bello family establishing their first cigar factory in 1896. 94, they opened up their factory right here in Little Havana, Tavistogi.
2 guys who know each other well now calling plays against each other. Todd Downing going against Matt Burke. They were coaches on the same staff in Detroit when Ndamukong Suh was there.
2-yard gain here. DeAndre Washington to the field, and Michelle.
Well, speaking of Ndamukong Suh, after he sustained that injury, he came to the sideline, started to walk it off, and just kept walking off. Walked himself to the locker room, Al. Walked himself there. Finally, the head orthopedist and the head athletic trainer caught up with him, walked into the locker room with him. He sat down on a table just inside the locker room. They only spent a couple of minutes in there. He came back out. There was nothing more than that. He had walked himself in, and now he's back out.
Marches to the beat of his own drummer, doesn't he? 2nd down and 8. Carr fires, juggled and dropped. And are they going to call it a catch? They are not. Incomplete. That's Amari Cooper. The rest of this is just stuff.
The pass is ruled incomplete. 3rd down.
Yeah, even Kiko Alonso knew that one. But this has been too many times for Amari Cooper. Leads the National Football League now with 10 drops. And that was a big key situation.
Well, he and
still trying to look at this
a couple of years ago. They were looking at it, but there's no challenge. Pretty clear on the replay.
Yeah, he seemed to fix those drops last year, but then right back to it.
So now 3rd and 8, and now you got the play clock expiring.
First timeout
And Oakland's able to get a timeout taken, which might be interesting down the stretch here in a very tight game. 3rd and 8. Hey, we want to send our condolences to the family of Joey Chavo, who so many of us on this show and other shows, Monday Night Football and all the rest, work with for so many years. A fantastic technical director, Sports Video Group Hall of Fame, passed away. And to Joey's family, all we can tell you is that all of us loved working with him. A spectacular man, and our sympathies.
Indeed.
It'll be 3rd down and 8 for the Raiders here at the 11-yard line.
It's like they're going back to that Ndamukong Suh walk-around style defense. Here he is. They're going to try and present different looks.
So a 3-man rush and dropped again, this time by Crabtree. Man, oh man. 4th down.
Couldn't tell. Let's take a look, and somebody's going to come flying. I think that's Rashad Jones. Does he get a finger on it? I couldn't really tell. Don't think so. 2 key drops by their 2 key receivers in the biggest moment.
Marquette King fighting that groin injury. This is a deep kick, but a line drive, returnable. Grant tries to swing to the outside, and the coverage is very good, and they knock him down at the 45-yard line. 48-yard punt. So after they lose to Baltimore 40-0, some of the quotes from Gase, not putting the work in, not going to just learn it all in meetings, got to find guys that'll put forth the effort. Starts with our best players, not compromising, do what I think is best. Come on board, great. You know, we'll get rid of them. Pretty direct. Started with Ajayi in the trade last week.
You know, it's a big leap going from an offensive coordinator to a head coach. You have to make tough calls.
Flag is down. Wouldn't you know it again? Kenyon Drake. Both these backs tonight showing some good moves, but holding call here.
Holding.
Coming up.
Offense number 51. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's 8 penalties against Miami. It's Pouncey with the penalty. 9 against Oakland, and we go to Michelle.
Well, I spoke to a number of Dolphins about the Ajayi trade. Kenyon Drake texted with Ajayi and said, you know, we both see this as new stepping stones in our careers. Devontae Parker said, we were all shocked. It tells you this can happen to anyone. And Kiko Alonso said, I was definitely surprised, but at the end of the day, I'm going to stay in my lane and worry about the defense. The train goes on.
Yep. It's almost like the Belichick mantra, do your job. Do your job. And Cutler finally airs one out and throws it out of bounds. So the running backs tonight, the guys coming in who nobody really knew about to a certain extent. Drake loses the fumble, but apart from that, he's had some nice games. Damian Williams with a chip block, and of course this great spinorama and leap into the end zone. And right now you have a look at their numbers tonight. Drake was 69 on the ground. Williams was 6 catches and a touchdown catch. And there's an injury timeout right now. Juwan James, who is the right tackle for the Dolphins, is the man on the grass.
Take a look right here. Kind of turned awkwardly on that right ankle. Don't know exactly what happened, but he is the pass blocker extraordinaire. That is his particular skill set, and he's had a nice game tonight. But now you start looking over at Khalil Mack and Bruce Irvin and going, uh-oh, now what's our backup going to do? This time Sam Young.
Well, Young has experience. He's been around. Played at Notre Dame years ago and comes in to fill that spot, at least for the moment.
His first game was last week. He'd been inactive for the first 6. And he's going to be plenty active for the rest of this game. Guarantee you they'll have a little chipping help on that side. So this might now play a little bit more into a Damian Williams game, who has a much better understanding of protection, and he is in there now.
Second down and 20 from the 35-yard line. Cutler under pressure, and he's going to be taken down at the 33-yard line. So that's Irvin and Mario Edwards both coming in. So they make the switch on the offensive front. You get a sack right off the bat.
Yeah, and you don't get anything out of Julius Thomas. He's gone, and the back's on the far side. So you get a guy who coming in cold off the bench against the defensive player of the year, and he has no chance. And I guarantee you, Jay Cutler, out of the corner of his eye, was thinking, where's 52? And he didn't have to wait long.
First sack of the night for Oakland.
They have blown 2 opportunities thus far with great field position set up by their defense, and that is a story all too common.
Third and 22, and they're going to run the ball and swing it to the outside, now coming back the other way, and we'll run into a bunch of Raiders at the 37-yard line is Damian Williams, and the clock now runs down under 8 minutes to go in the 4th.
And if you're a Dolphins fan, you're giving it the collective ugh.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't get opportunities. It's such a great feeling as an offense to get the ball around midfield, because you don't feel the pressure of being backed up and worried about turning it over as much, all those sorts of things, and they just went backwards each time.
Hug and Capitals with 2 exclamation points. Here's Hawk to punt. Fair catch, called for, backing up and made at the 13-yard line by Jalen Richard. 7:21 left in the 4th. Oakland with the ball up by 4. And off we go. Our crew heads to the Rockies next Sunday night. The New England Patriots, with their 6-2 record, come off a bye week, head west to take on the Broncos, trying to get healthy. Football night starts at 7 Eastern time. New England and Denver. A couple of years ago, we had a phenomenal overtime game between those two. That's their matchup next Sunday night. From the 13-yard line, they start this drive with a Marshawn Lynch run for 2 yards up to the 15-yard line.
Marshawn Lynch averaging just over 6 yards per carry tonight, and due in large part to the play of this offensive line. When Gabe Jackson is pulling around on the power and he makes it all the way to the safety, you know you're going to get a big play. Double teams on Ndamukong Suh have opened it up for Lynch, and then the old okey doke fake the double team, let Lynch fall forward, and there goes Marshawn Lynch, elusive as always.
Second and 8. Milking the play clock. Carr. Time. Throws. And that time it is Michael Crabtree. And he's able to haul it in. So after a drop on the prior drive, makes a nice catch here. And Oakland will come to the line because they don't want it to be reviewed and go no huddle here, which they do.
That got a little loose on the back end of that one, too.
It did, because they're at a point in the game, Oakland is, where they would use the time off the clock after a first down, but they raced up to the line of scrimmage so that Miami couldn't challenge.
Looked like a catch. Now watch it flip over here on the tail end of that. Not sure it would have been overturned, but nice play by Derek Carr, going all Tom Brady and getting him to the line of scrimmage and getting it covered.
Yeah, Oakland didn't want to take the chance, so that's why they came to the line and snapped it in a hurry, and it's 2nd and 12 after a loss of 2. And the play clock run down. DeAndre Washington is in the backfield. On 2nd and 12. Carr in the pocket, throws, and then it's caught at the 35-yard line. Jared Cook makes another grab. Steps out of bounds. Rashad Jones makes the tackle, and that will make it 3rd down and 6.
Jared Cook already a much bigger factor than what he was with Green Bay, but Couldn't have been a bigger factor than he was against Dallas in that playoff game, could he? Huge play in that one.
Oh, that was one of the great catches ever, really, when you think about it.
Set up the game-winning field goal.
Knocked Dallas out of the playoffs. 3rd and 5. Play clock at 2. And now Carr, because the play clock had gone all the way down, has to take a timeout. So Oakland has now used 2 of their 3 in situations where they didn't want to take one. And you can tell by Del Rio's expression. Talked about that Miami schedule upcoming. And again, no bye week because Hurricane Irma postponed that first game of the season. So they took that bye week and put Tampa in there. And that'll take place in a couple of weeks. They go to Carolina next week. Panthers 6-3 after they went over Atlanta today. Tampa having trouble. And then they meet New England twice in a 3-week span. Once here, once there. And the season at Buffalo, at Kansas City. 2 tough games, and then Buffalo here to wrap it up. 3rd toughest remaining schedule. So it's 3rd down and 5. Under 5 minutes now left in the 4th.
Jared Cook right there has been the headache all night long.
Far deep downfield and wide open is Seth Roberts. And a flag at the end of the play. But Seth Roberts has picked up another 1st down. And Oakland tonight, the big story for them is converting on 3rd down over and over. That's 29 yards. And the penalty along the sideline at the end of the play.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 20 hit on a defenseless player. Illegal hit.
That's
15-yard penalty, 1st down.
So tackle on 15 thanks to the Jones penalty for net gain of 44 for the Raiders.
Watch what they do. They rotate the safeties, go back here, but it doesn't allow Rashad Jones enough time to get over the top to make that play. So you want to disguise, but sometimes the disguise can hurt you. Let's watch the tail end of this play and see what happens. This was really had nothing to do with Rashad Jones, had everything to do with Seth Roberts taking the helmet off of Jones.
And the crowd just saw it. And the boos cascade. And Carr off the play fake, going to the end zone. You got action down there and a flag down there as well. You had Xavier Howard tied up with Michael Crabtree, and that's going to go on the defense.
Pass interference. Defense number 25. Automatic 1st down.
Well, when you get a veteran wide receiver against a young cornerback, you can see the grab, you can see the hold. That is too easy for the officials. You know, Xavier Howard, we really haven't called his name in a negative way tonight, but with the game on the line, just unable to keep his hands off. Nerves start to play into it. For Adam Gase, his nerves playing into it now too.
18-yard penalty. It's 1st and goal from the 3-yard line.
If you can hold them to a field goal.
Keeps it a 1-possession game. What they have to do right now with 4:42. They give it to Lynch, and Marshawn Lynch pulls his way into the end zone. Touchdown Oakland. Roberts shakes his hand, so do the offensive lineman. Lynch has galloped for 2 TDs tonight, coming back from that 1-week suspension. And Oakland up 26-16 with the extra point forthcoming.
Watch Kelechi Osemele right here, and then as Donald Penn comes over next to him to square it up, he's got him. Now Osemele up on Kiko Alonso and a walk-in. Brilliant offensive line play that time.
Extra point is good. Off the foot of Tavecchio. 4:37 left in the 4th. Raiders 27, Dolphins 16.
Well, in football, here are your closers. The offensive line of the Oakland Raiders. They had to get it done, and they did. Watch Donald Penn, Kelechi Osemele. It'll be Penn with a little help from Osemele, get him on the ground, and then Osemele up to the next level. Even Seth Roberts, the wide receiver, with a good block. And Marshawn Lynch just finishes it up. So they were unable to get the running game going early in this game, but eventually the big guys wore down a very game Miami Dolphins defensive line that really made enough plays, Al, to win this one. It was the Dolphins offense once again that couldn't convert when the defense gave them opportunities.
Couldn't convert, and the penalties were killing them. Touchback. Well, through the years, but they've had some rivalry, these guys. Raiders and Dolphins going all the way back. Raiders broke the Dolphins' 16-game regular season winning streak back in '73. Ended the Dolphins' quest for a fourth straight Super Bowl appearance with a 28-26 win there. There's John Madden. Ended the Dolphins' 27-game regular season home winning streak back in '75. Of course, the fabled Sea of Hands game. Clarence Davis in the end zone, again breaking their hearts, but still the only team with a perfect season. Thanks in good measure to David Tyree and Eli Manning.
Yeah, but we got a chance to visit with maybe my favorite football person, or one of them of all time, Don Shula, before the game. Still comes out to the ball games, and it takes a heck of a team and a heck of a head coach to pull that one off.
26 years as a head coach here. And Thomas runs out of bounds here, a little bit short of the first down. Good to see Coach Shula and Marianne out on the field before the game. 347 victories. Think about that.
It's amazing. It really is. In a few different places, and Adam Gase would like to somehow follow in those footsteps, but that is one big footstep on the ground. Sort of like trying to replace Dan Marino here.
3rd and 1, so Dan before the game, who looks great. And reaching for it and making the catch is Julius Thomas. Thomas stretching out, reaching for it. Threw it over Reggie Nelson. Dolphins will hustle up to the line.
Well, that's what the Denver Broncos used to do all the time. Just split out the tight end Julius Thomas, and anytime a safety went with him, they threw that pass, and he won the great majority of those matchups.
From the 39 out, dumps it off over the middle. Spun down after a gain of a few is Drake. Wants to put it on the ground to get the Dolphins up to the line with 3.5 to go. Miami with all its timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time, and you can go either or here, right? You could kick the field goal here. You can't do that.
Meanwhile, he puts it on the turf. Snap from Pouncey was low, and he has to cover it back up at the 39-yard line. And now Miami's going to take a timeout.
The dreaded grease pig. Watch this snap, and he just left his hand, and you play, and you talked about it, Al. It's a warm night down there. By the end of that night, even the gloves are a little gooey, and the official comes over and gives him a little help.
They have to take a timeout. We want to have that happen again. And it's going to be 3rd and 9 now, coming up from the 38-yard line. So Jay Cutler, there was some question as to the ribs. You can see they're very well protected there. Missed one full game and half of the Jets game when Matt Moore came off the bench to lead him to a win. Tonight, 29 of 35 for 243 and 2 touchdowns. 3rd and 9 now after the timeout. Fires, and that's low and incomplete, and it's going to be 4th down. So you're in a situation now. I mean, what do? You can try to kick a 55-yard field goal. Probably not.
Yeah, probably more like about 57-yard field goal here.
And that would end the, that would pretty much end the game if you didn't make it. Give Oakland good field position. Got to get a little closer. As you say, though, you can go either way. Look for the touchdown, look for the field goal, make it a one-possession game. And right now, they need to convert because it's 4th down and 9.
Julius Thomas's size has to be a factor.
Butler pressured, throws off the back foot, and it is hauled in at the 24-yard line by Julius Thomas. Indeed a factor. He's slow in getting up. Clock under 3 minutes, but there's a flag. Holding call coming up on. Miami's walking back, so be on Bushrod, the right guard. He's coming back regardless.
Yeah, they're just having so many problems on the outside. Sam Young just cannot stay with Khalil Mack. And so Bushrod had to come over and try and save him late. Got his arm wrapped around, little jersey tug, and the UGG continues. God, so many times the Dolphins have just gone backwards with key penalties tonight.
And on top of that, Thomas comes off the field here on a 4th and 19. Mack chasing Cutler. Cutler just flings it to the end zone. It's a dead duck and it's incomplete. And Oakland will take over. With 2:53.
And it was pressure by Mack again. And so with the game on the line, the defensive player of the year who switched sides this time comes out and does his work against Tunzel. Cutler has no choice but to try and move and just couldn't get enough on that throw.
Well, partner, we can't leave here without thinking about your career.
Do we have to?
Well, we do. So Chris Collinsworth, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you of a certain age, actually played in the NFL for 8 seasons, played in the Super Bowl as a rookie, and ended his career in this very stadium in 1989,
correct,
following the 88 season in the Super Bowl, when Joe Montana led the San Francisco 49ers down the field. John Taylor with a touchdown to win the game over the Cincinnati Bengals, as Oakland now can spend a lot of time running down the clock. Your remembrances of that game?
Honestly, I remember cheering for them to score a touchdown at the end because they did everything. You could tell they were moving down the field, and if they were going to score, I wanted them to score with 2 minutes to go to give us a chance to get the ball back. But they were methodically taking all the time off the clock. And I said, if you're going to score now and give us a chance. But Joe Montana, as he always is, Jerry Rice, John Taylor, they were perfect. It was a perfect drive.
I'm glad you cleared that up for you. For a second, I thought you were football's version of shoeless Joe Jackson when you were throwing the game.
It wasn't in there enough to do that.
That was a heck of a game. That was Montana's 3rd Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Bill Walsh then stepped away.
Yeah.
Bill Walsh ended his 49er career and went eventually to Stanford.
Yeah, and Sam White was our coach and trained by Bill Walsh. And
right.
The incredible Bill Walsh, who really put so many changes in the game. You're still feeling them today, what he did.
Sunday.
Great coach, great man. 2nd down and 10. And Lynch will get slung back. And 3rd down coming up. So the Raiders, we're talking about their tough road. They will fly home and get into the Bay Area in the wee hours, but they have a bye week. Then New England in Mexico City. Then they come home against the staggering Broncos and the staggering Giants as well. So weeks 12 and 13 don't look bad for them. But then they go to Kansas City. They have Dallas on a Sunday night, week 15 in Oakland. And then that's a tough way to end. At Philadelphia, red hot. And at the Chargers.
Never know with Philadelphia. They may have some things clinched by then.
I'm thinking the same thing. 3rd down, 3rd and 10. It looked great. And that's whoa! What is this all about?
Picked?
It's picked by Jones, and he steps out of bounds. And that takes us through the 2-minute warning. But Miami's going to get it in an 11-point game with 1:54 remaining on Sunday Night Football from Florida. Right after the game, the Volkswagen post-game report. Michelle, as usual, on the field interviewing the stars of the game. Mike Tirico and Mike Florio and Tony Dungy will wrap it all up. Chris and I will look ahead to next Sunday night's meeting between the Patriots and the Broncos out in Denver, and that's coming up right after the game. Let's go look at the stadium. Reconstruction effort over the past couple of years. Did a nice job. Played a Super Bowl here in a couple of years. They played 5 Super Bowls in this building, and they had 5 other ones at the old Orange Bowl.
Yeah. Peyton Manning got his first here, right?
John Elway's last game was played here when he won his second Super Bowl.
Only time we ever had rain for a Super Bowl. Now the fans wouldn't even have felt it.
Yep.
Then had a puddle running down my neck.
Tony Dungy in his
sure did.
Super Bowl here. 2nd and 9. And it's caught getting out of bounds is Kenny Stills. But there's a flag for a change.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 51. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Bruce Irvin tacking on a few more.
Yep, came with a little inside loop and didn't hit him very hard, but did sort of hit him in the head and neck area. Let's take a look after the ball's thrown right there, late to the head. And so, whatever. I mean, you know, here we go. We've seen strange things all day today in the National Football League. They need at least 3 in a hurry. And then try the onside kick and a few Hail Marys. Who knows?
Never know. They've got 1 timeout. 21 penalties in this game, over 200 yards. More flags than on June 14th. From the 47-yard line. To the outside. That's going to be another first down. Parker makes the catch. Tackled by McDonald. You're right. It ain't over.
No. You know, it's interesting that they're getting some exhausted players out there on the field, and that time they did not have Khalil Mack over Sam Young, the new right tackle over there. They've got Danico Autry on him out there at this point.
Juwan James out for that hamstring pull. Cutler fires down the sideline and a one-handed catch, but it's out of bounds. Devontae Parker was on the chalk. 2nd down.
Did anything get down other than 1 foot? Did a knee? Maybe. If that knee hit first, I think that's a catch.
Well, that's something that there's no challenge inside of 2 minutes, so they have to look at that on
that's
Park Avenue.
Unless that bobble counted. I don't know that it did.
Yeah, McCauley.
The previous play is under review.
Yeah, it's under review, all right. That'd be something.
That was a big-time catch. As long as this doesn't count as a bobble here, you know, the old, what does John Madden say? 1 knee equals 2 feet.
Right.
There you go. That's down. As long as that wasn't a bobble, and if that counts as a bobble,
you give up.
Yeah, I guess that counts as commentary. That's down. That's a catch, unless that's a bobble. I don't know if I'm going to write my own book. That's a catch unless that's a bobble.
It's a bobble, right. All we do is parse everything in this world.
I think that is total control. That's as much total control as you can have with one hand.
Without a bobble.
Without a bobble.
Answer pretty quickly.
Landed inbounds. It is a completed catch. It will be 1st and 10 for Miami at the 15-yard line.
No bobble and a first down. So very interesting now with 1:36. Miami still has a timeout. And again, clearly you need a field goal, touchdown, and a 2-point conversion. What do you want to do in what order?
Well, and at the very least at this point, you're going to get a field goal attempt and a shot at an onside kick. So this one's going down to the wire unless they go an interception, turn it over, or miss the field goal.
Snap it from the 15-yard line. Cutler fires over middle, touchdown. Julius Thomas into the end zone. So now you need that 2-point conversion to put you in a position to get the onside kick and a field goal to tie the game.
Morrow Bowman got attracted to the underneath route over here, and Julius Thomas snuck in behind him. There was Bowman right in the middle, and he saw the receiver underneath, leaned in, and then Corey James couldn't get there. But this is very interesting now.
Cutler over 300 yards and 3 touchdown passes tonight. Adam Gase 2 for 2 in these situations. And now Miami has to take a timeout.
Third and final charge timeout, Miami.
Ouch.
Yeah, not the worst thing in the world in this particular situation, because they're going to have to go down the field anyway. They have 132. You'd like to have it.
Ouch.
Well, you didn't want to. I've seen situations where it would be much more impactful than it is right here. You have to get the onside kick anyway, and even with one timeout at Oakland gotten it, they could have still run the clock out.
But obviously this is the right call. You make this, and then all of a sudden all you need is a field goal if you recover the onside kick.
Right.
If you miss it, then you know you got to get a touchdown. And for Gase,
thought they had the play in. Didn't need to stop the clock in his mind. They'll take the timeout. Clock stopped anyway. Here, Kenyon Drake is in the backfield from the 2-yard line. They're going to give it to Drake, and he's going to barrel his way in for the conversion. So in 92 seconds, it's going to come down to that onside kick to keep Miami's hopes alive.
watch Anthony Fasano over here as this starts to get stuffed. He is just going to push Kenyon Drake into the end zone. Good double team up front. Here comes the final push on the part of Fasano. So they've already recovered one onside kick. They exposed that one where they had Cody Parkey go up there and kick it and recovered it himself. Let's see what they've got up their sleeve here. The Ravens tried one of those funky kicks of an onside kick at the end of that game where it looked like they were going to kick it to the right, and he sort of did a backhanded kick, and it didn't make it the 10 yards.
Right.
Everybody has these tricky kicks here, and a lot of times the guy right next to the kicker, so they'll have the kicker look like he's going to kick it, then the other guy kick it the other way. So the Raiders have had to stay balanced here in this formation.
Well, you have the kicker and the punter, and now you've got Matt Hawk, who is the punter.
Third and final charge timeout.
And as he starts to move, Oakland takes its final timeout.
What a great timeout that was, because they showed their play.
Right.
Did you see that?
Absolutely.
Hawk went first and was not going to kick it, and then Parkey was. So now they're going to have to come back over and say, do we want to run that again, or we're going to go to plan B? Going to fake the kick this way, and then he was going to go get involved in this thing. But they showed their play.
Showed their cards right there.
Perfectly timed timeout.
And now where do you go if you're Miami? Now you go to whatever your next best. Well, they've already used their two best onside kick situations, I guess, with Parkey recovering the first one on the little bouncing ball, the unexpected one.
But look at what they're doing to the Raiders, because they're not sure if they're going to kick it one way or the other. So they're not overloading the return team one side or the other. They're basically having to play both sides, which creates opportunities anyway to go get one.
4-by-4 are the Raiders. They try it again, and there's a bouncing ball that is caught by Amari Cooper. So Coop has dropped a few passes, but he doesn't drop the onside kick. And unless some form of crazy disaster strikes, the Oakland Raiders are going to go to 4-5.
You know, that just was not a very good onside kick. This thing never left the ground. Good onside kicks go roll, bounce straight up in the air. I don't know how kickers do it, but because that one got sideways instead of truly end over end, where it will pop up in the air, it never popped.
So Cooper collects it. They go into the victory formation. A couple of kneel downs will take the Oakland Raiders to the airport for the ride home. And in a game they really had to win, they win. And the Miami Dolphins, meanwhile, will go to 500. with a mark of 4-4. They'll be 2 games back of New England. But in a way, as the saying goes, they'll have their fate in their own hands because they're going to get New England a couple of times down the line. They get Buffalo twice. Cutler and Gase with little conversation. So Jay tonight, 34-42, 311. Pretty wondering if those ribs would hold up. They held up pretty well. And Carr just needs one more kneel down to take them to the locker room.
Took a lot for Jay Cutler to come back, and it was partly the friendship between those two guys that got him back. And Jay Cutler tonight looks sharp, and you just wonder if this team might get this offense going in the second half of the season because they've had more time together they didn't have in the offseason.
We will find out. That's a guarantee. 27-24 is the final score as the Oakland Raiders come east and win it. They had a lot of success in the Eastern time zone last year, not so much this year until tonight when they win it in prime time by 3 points. So there's your story from Miami with the Volkswagen postgame report just ahead. Stay tuned.